Good morning. Good morning. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. How are you feeling? I'm feeling good this morning. Even though I only got out of bed just shy of 20 minutes ago, it wasn't very long ago at all that I rolled out of bed. We went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, and sat myself back down here. I thought, you know what? I'm even going to put some foundation and mascara on before I get started because today's guest is fire. She is amazing. I am so excited to bring to you Dr. Michelle McDowell today as we talk about all manner of awesome things. She has been, well, I have been waiting for her to come onto the show for a few weeks now. So I've been super excited about today and sharing all of her wonderfulness and wonderment with you. But before we do, you know what we've got to do? We've got to get some people in here. We've got to have a little bit of a cuddle. Good morning, Joanne Smith. First off the mark this morning. Super quick. Good morning, Mr. Ian Dixon. How are you, my love? Charlotte Clark. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in, you guys. Come and get a little cuddle. Come and start your Tuesday off the right way. It is Tuesday, isn't it? It is Tuesday. Can we just check? Someone look outside and check it's Tuesday for me. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. And in terms of the weather here in Preston, it's a bit shit. It is a bit shit this morning. If you are watching in one of the groups, for example, if you're watching in the IATQB Hive, which is my free online community, it's a shameless plug for my free online community. Can you please make sure that you give permission to StreamYard so that we can see your name? Otherwise, you get called Facebook user, and I don't know who you are. So please make yourselves known by allowing StreamYard for us to see your name so we can have a proper conversation and say hello properly. So good morning, Natty New. Hello, Tracy Tolman. Can we all just take a moment for Tracy Tolman this morning, who is an incredible member of the IATQB community. And yesterday, she did something pretty incredible. She did something pretty incredible. 5:30 yesterday afternoon, Tracy Tolman, you did it yesterday, didn't you? She shaved her head. I'm going to double check. Tracy, tell me. I want you to tell me in the comments that you definitely shaved your head and I'm not being premature. Yes, Jenny Barling, you've made it work. I see you. She shaved her head, and she shaved her head for charity, and she's made over £1,000 for incredible zoo charity near her to support her local zoo. Oh, don't you'll set me off again. Oh, she's gonna cry. Don't be crying, Tracy Tolman. She has done an absolutely wonderful job. I am so proud of Tracy and everything that she has been that she's been doing whilst lockdown has been on. She's a perfect example of somebody who 18 months ago was scared of their own visibility, and now she's been going live every day, and her business has been hugely hit by the COVID lockdown. You know, she's got a B&B, Brim Woodlands, by the way, that will be opening soon. £1,800 she has raised for charity. Just remind us to charity again, my love, because it's such a lovely thing to do. Especially for things that get a little bit forgotten about during lockdown. There have been lots of talk about lots of things during lockdown. There's been a whole Black Lives Matter movement. We've been raising money for domestic violence. There's been all sorts of, it's pride. There's all sorts of different things going on. And there are lots and lots of charities that in times like this do get forgotten about and still need support. And I think it was a zoo or an animal charity that you were raising money for that was local to you. And I just think it was absolutely fantastic what you did. So congratulations and well done, raising just shy of £2,000. Let's see if as a community we can tip that over into £2,000 today. Welsh Mountain Zoo in Colwyn Bay is where she was raising some money for. So thank you so much, Tracy, for repping the love of the IAT community by doing incredible things like that. If you are getting up to stuff such as raising money for charity, or if there's anything in particular that you're doing that you want to raise awareness of, I want you to slide on into my DMs and tell me about it. And let's get you on the show and let's shout about you. All right, let's have a look. Who else is joining us this morning? Yes, I slid straight out of the shower for the first spot. It's not too shabby in Sutton Coldfield. Is it Scorchio though? Let's do the shit weather whilst we're here. It is pouring down in not so sunny Portsmouth this morning, it's pouring down. Got a little rainy bee going on. It's just a bit shit here in Preston this morning. Just a little bit shit. In the weather in Preston this morning. Good morning, Nikki James. How are things over in Essex? Look out the window. Tell me what the day is like where you are. Huge news for me and Nikki yesterday. We are down to just one spot. Can you believe? On our Rockstar Mastermind. Just one spot and then that's it. We've sold it out. I can't believe it. I can believe it because it's going to be effing amazing. But there's only one spot left. Oh, my balls on the Rockstar Mastermind. So if anyone wants to know about that, do give us a shout. We are available for chats today. Rosa, it is overcast and cloudy, so it's a bit shit in Nottingham today. I'm just going to go smack bang in the middle with a bit of Nottingham just there. Where else are you in the UK or indeed in the world? If you're watching all over the world, it's a bit shit in Colwyn Bay. But it's sunshiny at Bryn Woodlands because you do incredible things, Tracy Tillman. It's very shit in Darwin, which is right near me. We've got Gemma James who's manifesting that final spot. You've only got till Friday, or when the spot goes, the spot has gone. So it's very, very exciting. In rugby, it's warm but dull. So rugby in the Midlands, is it there? No, you don't need a sunshiny bee, do you? You need it's a bit shit. I've lost. Do you know what happens when the kids play on my desk? My bees go missing. It's grey, and it's rained just north of London. Or we can use a rainy bee for that then. Just north of London here. It's there, London, isn't it? My geography's it's blur. In Lagos, Nigeria, it is raining cats and dogs. It is raining in Nigeria. Let's pop you over here. In our international space, in the sea over here, because I don't have a global map. It's a bit right in the middle, Nottingham. That's it. Smack bang. It's grey. It's rain just north of London. All right, you guys. So, if you are... Dani, did I just go into a Brummie accent? Yeah, I did. It's from an okay enough, so it's not a bit shit. What do I do? In Norfolk, Diane Ivory, who happens to be joining us on the Rockstar Mastermind, can I just say? And I'm very, very excited to have the Forensic Minds Queen joining us. It's dry but a bit shit. I've got one left for it's a bit shit just over this side. Let me move London down because I imagine just a bit south of London it's a bit shit too. There we go. In the southeast, just there. Right. Let me put my little weather bees away. More for another day. Wishing you sunshine and blessings wherever you are in the world. And hope you're all right. You're all right. Just check in with each other. Make sure you're all okay. Tuesday, I don't know about you. It's the proper work day of the week. So you've got Monday where you've either got that Monday morning feeling, which I'm very, very lucky that I don't get anymore. That kind of, oh God, there's a whole week ahead of us. Or yes, there's another week to crush, depending on which camp you fall into. Then you've got Tuesday, which is nowhere near the weekend just gone. And you've already talked about the weekend if you're in the office. Then you've got Friday, which is a million miles away, which means you've got Tuesday to be super productive. I find Tuesdays are my most super productive days. Today, I am absolutely stacked out with incredible one-to-one coaching, ready with my Be Inspired Mastermind for Be Inspired, which is going to be, fingers crossed, on the 10th of September. Now then, did anybody, who out of you guys works within the wedding industry? I am interested to know, because there's some guidelines that came out about the wedding industry yesterday, that in the initial, do not allow singing at gatherings or at weddings, or weddings of, like, you're not allowed to gather more than 30 right now in this moment, and you're not allowed to sing. And I find that teaching suspect. I'm going to call our government out on that right now. You're not allowed to sing at weddings. You're not allowed to blow woodwind instruments at weddings for fear of spreading the coronavirus. Now, we need to be thinking also about whispering. Now, you know, I work in the field of voice, and you expel more air when you're whispering than doing anything else with your flipping voice. So you're not allowed to whisper either. Just keep each other safe. Don't be going around whispering. If you're not singing, then definitely don't piss and whisper. Oh, it infuriates me. So many. I think it's because I'm in the entertainment industry as well. So many of my singing friends, have been direly affected. And I think we're like the last ones left to know what the F is going to go on with ourselves, other than singing online, which is an experience. We're performers because we like the clap, can you believe? And we're not getting that properly in the online space. So please, for the singers' sake, my goodness, if you can support one. For example, we've got Kim Fox on right now, who is going live on a regular basis, doing incredible things. So please do support your local artists if they are doing stuff online. That's me off my soapbox this morning. Don't whisper if you're not going to sing. And we're going to sing anyway, I believe. Anyway, so that's just me. Right, you guys. Washing hands before and after the ring exchange. Stop it. Oh, my Lord. Anyway, right. On to the real reason why we're here today. This is the show at Rise Up Show. I share with you every single morning incredible people from business, from personal development, mindset, amazing people, entertainers, and everybody in between. And today I have got someone super, super, super special for you. She's been a huge support to me in the background, especially over the last few weeks, probably more than she actually knows. And I want to welcome you, the incredible psychologist, the incredible person you to have in your life online, Dr. Michelle McDowell. Make sure you're hitting the like and the love button and the share button, because we have got some gold to talk about this morning. Dr. Michelle, good morning.
What an intro. Oh my goodness, the intro is amazing.
One of
Oh,
my
hail
favourite
to the
things.
Queen. Hail to the Queen.
Stop it. I feel the same. I'm so excited to have you on the show. I genuinely am so excited to have you on the show. Dr. Michelle, I don't feel like I could call you just Michelle. Am I allowed?
Hello,
Or
I
have
don't
I
know,
got, it's got to be
Michelle.
Dr.
You
Michelle?
are allowed.
I don't know what I'm
Queen
allowed to
Bee, you
do.
are allowed.
I've got permission. I feel better. It's out of respect for more than anything else. Like when you have a doctorate, when you have become a doctor, when you've studied in the way that you have, I feel like it's only right. That I think it comes from working in call centers, you know. And I remember being on call centers and people's title would come up and I would speak to a doctor and I would go, "What's best to call you?" And they would go, "I didn't study at university for so many years not to be
No
called
way.
doctor." And I think, right, I think it's only right now that if somebody I know has got a doctor, then it's got to be Dr. and then Dr. Hilary Jones or Dr. Claire Bailey out in the online world as well. And for you, whenever I think about it, it's always Dr. Michelle, but we're friends.
Oh, bless you.
So is
Do
it
you know
okay? I'm
what?
not
It's really
calling you Michelle.
interesting you talk about that. Yes, please, Michelle is fantastic. That is absolutely fine. But the title is really interesting, isn't it? Because I did my doctorate, but I didn't actually acknowledge for about 2 years afterwards. I had a lot going on in my life at the time, and it took me a while to actually start using the initials, you know. And people would say,
Yeah.
"But haven't you got doctorate? Isn't your?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have." So it took me a while. I mean, you know, I was getting on and doing things, but I don't know why. It just took me quite a few, you know, yeah, nearly 2 years to just really engage with. Oh yeah, that's my title now.
Do you know the interesting
To
thing
be
as
honest with
well?
you, the first thing I changed was my passport because I was heard that you could bump up your seat.
Yes, I'm a doctor. Get me in first class, get me in business class. That is the best way to save money and enjoy the high life as well. Like, do that thing. It's worth those years in training just for the business
I
class.
tell you.
So, Michelle, I find that really interesting actually when you say that, because I've spoke to a number. Now, this often happens with women doctors more than it does with male doctors. Like, so I know quite a few women doctors and quite a few male doctors. I always have this particular conversation around having doctor as the
Yeah,
prefix,
yeah, yeah,
whatever the prefix is. And in fact, I think it was Dr. Claire Bailey that I was talking to about it most recently, and it took her ages to stand within her power. And I remember I stood with her
yeah,
in a networking group, and it was just finishing. And I was doing a little bit of coaching with her on the side, and I got her to stand up, and I was
yeah.
like, "Who are you?" She was like, "I'm Dr. Claire," and it was, and I don't know if you've experienced this in your practice or in the wider practice space. Is there a difference between women doctors on how women doctors are thought of and how male doctors are thought of? Is that is like a cultural
To,
thing within medical fields?
yeah. I mean, it's slightly different because I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a
Yeah,
doctor of the mind, if you like,
you are.
a psychologist.
Yeah,
Um, I think part of my personal journey of adopting the name and really embracing the title doctor is, I think, because I qualified with the masters. So I'm older than the younger psychologist. So when I qualified, you needed the MSc, the Masters of Science, to
right.
become a psychologist.
Yeah,
So I did that and then embraced that, and that was fine, really, the MSc. And then they started it was along the lines of the European Union and saying, actually, we want all psychologists to have the same qualification.
yeah.
So really, we're going to bump it up to being a doctor. And they wouldn't give us the grandfather clause, so you couldn't just walk in and say, right, I'm a doctor. You had to still study for it.
Yeah,
So when I decided I was going to go back and study for it, I think that was the process of like, right, okay, I'm going to go back and do this and study
mhm,
for longer, and to engage with this. So I
yeah,
think that's why it took me longer to adapt and adopt to that name
yeah,
of doctor.
yeah,
But as you know, there's always deeper psychological reasons, and I think you're onto something when you're talking about perhaps women. I mean, I can't say just on my own experience that
yeah,
I would say that I've had conversations with women that said, actually, I'm having difficulty with the title. But I know that certainly for me, it took me a while to arrive at, wow, I'm now a doctor. I've done it.
yeah, yeah,
And I think part of that was, just believing. I was the first person in my family to become, to get a degree, the first person to do, though the first person all the way. So when I
yeah,
got to this stage of doctorate, I was like, whoa, I've done it. And I
yeah.
think that took me a while to embrace.
It's like putting the new pair of shoes on, isn't it? And you're like, so you just bought yourself some Louboutins and you've got to break those in, haven't you, through half? Not that I know. I'm not one for those.
It took me a while, I tell you.
So Michelle, tell us more about what you do, because we've talked about you being a doctor, but tell us more about your work and what you do right now in your field.
Okay. So it's sticking a little bit. I don't know if there's a delay for you.
A little bit
Is there
laggy,
a
but
delay
we're
for you?
fine.
Okay,
We're cool.
okay. So I trained as an educational psychologist because previous to this I was a teacher. In my first term of teaching, in fact teacher training, I was working with a young boy who I later discovered was dyslexic.
Right.
And we discovered that because an educational psychologist at the time came in, and I had a conversation with her. And at that moment, I decided, oh, this is what I really want. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually loved it, but my purpose, I felt, was psychology.
Yeah.
I found it interesting. Literally, the moment she told me about the role and what it encountered, what it embraced, I was like, actually, I really, really, really want to do this. And
Yeah.
then I pursued this long, 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 long road of becoming a
Long, long, long.
psychologist.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I became an education child psychologist, and basically what that means is I work with young people from 0 to 25, supporting them with finding out what their needs are and
Hmm.
what school parents, organisations need to do to support them, really. So
Yeah.
that's my kind of 9 to 5 job. I
Yeah.
then decided that actually I did about 7 years, but was just really interested in working with different organisations and systems. And then I kind of took on the coaching role as well. So I do
Right.
too.
So you do child. You're a child psychologist in your
Yes.
practice, and then when you say you
Yes.
do
Day to day.
coaching, what do you coach around?
Yes.
Who do you coach?
Okay. So, oh, sorry, I'll go back to the child psychology because I want to talk about the gaming.
Okay,
Gaming's
fab.
really important, but we'll go
I'm
back
here
to
for
that in a
this as
minute.
well because I need to talk
But
to you
with
about this.
the
I've got you on the show because it is like a private consultation that we can take offline directly after, because my kids are now officially addicted to Roblox and I don't know what to do. We'll talk about that in a second.
So coaching, I found this word that I absolutely love. I guess I kind of frame this word around my work. It's called, so a
Oh,
definition, but with an
hang
M.
on 1 second. It's just a little bit laggy. What was that? Definition.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, yeah, okay. So it's like definition, but with an M, and
Yeah.
it's about you defining who you are from the inside out.
Love
Because
it.
I find a lot of the time we become who we think everybody else wants us to be.
Yeah.
And me finishing, I call it finishing, is about you defining you for who you are.
Yeah. Amazing. And it's so
Yeah,
important for people to get into that space as well. It unlocks, as soon as you do that, it unlocks so many other things, doesn't it? So,
absolutely.
from a coaching point of view, we're going to park that for a second. We're going to go back to child psychology now. Let's take
Yes.
a look at some of the work that you do around that, because again, it is so, I mean, it's amazing for me to have somebody in my circle who's so knowledgeable in this field, and I know lots of people will want to know about that side of things. So tell me a little bit more about your work there, and
Okay.
also around gaming.
So on a day-to-day basis, I mean, you did an amazing, well, everything with you, but you had an amazing lady on about 2 days ago that was talking about autism
Yes, yeah,
on the
Heidi
Autism
Mayfair.
Day. Yes, Heidi Mayfair. And I was like, yes, yes, because all the points were so on point, So I basically in the day-to-day job work with parents and schools and organizations, and I assess children to see whether their needs are being met and what we
Mm-hmm.
need to do to support them to ensure that their needs are met. I sometimes now work with court as well and do expert witness work. So that's again around making sure that children are safe.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking about what the best placement may be for them. I'm not making the final decision, but I'm advising the court.
yeah.
So I do that, and I'm really passionate about that. And sort of during this time, particularly of COVID-19, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
with people staying at home longer, your wonderful charity, the domestic violence, has a concern, and so has all aspects of child
Yeah,
abuse and ensuring that children are protected. So that's been really important work around this time, especially
brilliant.
really. So that's what I do with the day to day, and through doing that work, what often happens with psychologists and psychiatrists in practice is you see enough children that you see a pattern for a condition, if you like.
Right,
Um, and then you'll find that other professionals around the time are also seeing that. And
right.
that's when they suddenly think, oh, actually, we need to take this seriously because we can see there's a pattern here occurring.
Yeah,
So most diagnoses that you'll have now, that's how it began. You
right.
know,
I see.
that there were enough professionals saying, actually, there's something wrong, or we can
Yeah,
see a pattern of behaviour here.
right.
And I won't say that I'm the only person that saw it, but I suddenly began to see this pattern around, um, particularly young boys and gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having consultations where parents were saying to me that they were asked to stop. And they were having these unbelievable technology tantrums. I
Right.
mean, kicking the sofa, throwing TVs, throwing the games, screaming, swearing, you name it. Um, and it wasn't just one or two. I was seeing this pattern occur.
Yeah.
And when I started to kind of speak to parents about it, they'll say, yeah, he started at about 5 or 6. I could control it then and say to him, right, an hour or 2 hours. Or I'm working, I was working, so it was okay for him to be on it for 2, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was impossible to get him off. So I could go on
Right.
and on about this.
No,
So
no,
you
no.
stop me
I'm
when you're
I'm
ready.
here. I'm not stopping. Like, and we are listening. And because, as you know, because this is a pattern of behaviour, especially now, especially as we're coming on the other side of lockdown, especially like working parents like me, we've had to rely heavily on screen time in order to keep the cogs moving of our house, of our lives.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I'm so interested to hear more on this, because these are like meltdowns from not being able to do stuff, I imagine. Like, what are these, where is this coming from? Like, tell us more about it.
It's so interesting because, because we have like MRI scans now, there's a whole area of neuropsychology that's looking at the brain. We can get so much more information than we have been able to get in the past.
Yeah.
And so, what they've been able to do by looking at scans is see actually a young person or a person who's gaming continuously has got the same neural pathways, if you like. So the same things igniting in their brain as somebody that's on crack cocaine or
Right.
heroin, or
Yeah.
another addiction. And they have what we call dopamine, a chemical that arises
Yeah.
when you're feeling good. So you
Right.
want more of it, and then you want
And it's
more of
those
it.
little achievements
Um,
within the game, isn't it, that give you that hit? It's like people being addicted to social
absolutely,
media and seeing the notifications, and those
absolutely.
notifications are connection
Yes,
interactions, and
yes.
it's the dopamine hit. So it's the same thing, right?
Yep,
Right.
absolutely. It hits on all those aspects of psychology that we know well. It's that constant stimulation. You're in this kind of fight or flight mode all the time.
Heightened,
You
yeah.
notice. I notice with my own little boy that he gets so engaged with a game with Roblox. That he's
Mhm.
in it, and he's moving like he's inside it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Ref, it's a game.
Yeah.
It's a game. It's not real. I know that, mom. I know that, mom. So now we've reduced the time considerably, so he can play for a little while. But
Mhm.
I've very much earmarked it around the time that he can play, when he can engage with it.
Yeah.
He can communicate with his friends because obviously lockdown has meant that it's a
They're in
way of
here.
socializing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so how do we prevent that from happening then? And is it as simple as reducing screen time, or is it the type of games that they're playing, or like what do you suggest around this?
So it's a really important point. I mean, I'm not the kind of the Mary Whitehouse of technology. I'm not saying actually
Can
don't
only
use
have
it.
30
Actually,
minutes a day,
technology,
and then that's it. It doesn't spark joy. Put it
technology,
in the bin.
exactly. I think technology is great. We're using it now. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it's allowed people to stay connected. There are positive aspects of technology.
Mhm.
There's been research around Minecraft, for example, being a great way of supporting young people with building their minds.
It's like mind Lego,
So
isn't it?
yes, yeah, so so that kind of systematic way, the planning, the organization that goes into it.
Mhm.
So and an hour a day of technology is seen to be absolutely fine, in fact beneficial for things like reading, the eye movement, etc.
Mhm.
So it's not that we're saying actually technology is a monster, it isn't. But like all things, it needs to be monitored and measured,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, because
so the parents always feel that they're in control of it. So what I often say to parents is,
no, I was just going to
oh,
say these games are designed to keep people on, just like apps, just like Facebook and Instagram, and again, social media. And I'm drawing that analogy for everybody watching because it's not just the kids that are addicted, it's us as well. So, like, these games. So, I was talking to somebody about this actually, a lady called Tessa Mack who knows the guy that created Farmville. And these games are specifically designed to keep people in app and essentially spending money. So they'll make things easy to a point and then more and more difficult. And then there is no real way of making any progress unless you spend money. And this is how these games
yeah,
create. So they rely on that. When you first start a game like Roblox or Farmville, or like there was a Simpsons game a little while back where you start and they make it very easy and you get lots of little dopamine hits, you build really, really quickly. And then it starts getting a bit slower and a bit slower and a bit
yeah,
slower. And then
yeah,
it becomes so slow that you've got to buy things like Robux with money, real money, in order for you to grow stuff. Now, I mean, as
yeah,
me as a
yeah.
parent, I'm like, no, you're not spending any fucking money on a fucking game. I'm not here for this.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
someone was just saying, Joanne Smith is just saying, Michelle, I have two friends that have run up serious four-figure bills by the children buying game points, and there's a spend addiction as well, but that's provided by the game in
Yeah,
itself.
absolutely. I mean, yes, yes. And, it's a precursor to gambling, you
Yes.
know, and even, I don't know if you're aware, but there was a clinic just established in London in September 2019 for gambling, very quickly followed by a gaming clinic for young people because it's becoming such a huge issue. Now, we're
Yeah.
not saying that the majority of young people will become addicted,
In that way.
but what it does do is it impacts on their personality, it impacts on their ability to stay focused,
Yeah.
their sleep ability, their social interaction, their mental health. There are so many aspects of gaming that in their family life, just mentioned, I've had parents say, actually, it was the beginning of the relationship breaking down in the family because the only money that they had was on their card and the child has spent it on a game. So it's a real significant problem. So
Yeah.
going back to what you were asking before, I often start off with parents by saying, look, let's take it slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Start off with mapping out what the problem is. It's
Yeah.
pointless sort of, I always say this about, behavior charts. I'll speak
Mm-hmm.
to parents, I'll say, oh, I've got a behavior chart. And it will be for, kind of stop budgeting. I'm like, is that the issue that your child's got? No. So that behavior chart isn't going to work for this
You've got to
particular
get to
child.
the
You've got
root of
to
why it's doing what it's
focus
doing.
on, and focus on what exactly their behavior is. And once
Mm.
you've realised that, then we can work with it. So with regards to gaming, I say to parents, let's take a week and map out exactly when they are, when are they gaming, when are
Yeah.
the trigger points, when are they doing it, and what are they on. So we can
Mm.
then see what's the feel good factor for them, where are they starting. Is it middle of the night, which often happens while after they've gone to bed, that they're up and gaming until like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So if it's that time, then maybe we need to look at switching off the Wi-Fi during that time. you
Yeah. So
know
they can't access it.
so we've got to think about how, and some parents, even during lockdown, it's been really difficult. But the only thing that we've kind of established is we've got to take the technology out of the house. That's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
to the neighbours, in the car, to the garage or somewhere, so the temptation isn't there.
Yeah. Absolutely. It is so interesting, and like you say, it is becoming more and more like common.
Prevalent, yeah,
Like my kids say, as soon as so I work here, but they have access to Roblox here, and the reason why they have access to
yeah,
Roblox here is because I work all the damn time, so they don't have
yeah, yeah,
they don't have like a huge
yeah,
amount of
yeah,
time that they can, but as soon as they can, they're here, like as soon as they can,
yeah, yeah,
and it's I want to ask you, and I'm asking, and again, this is something that happens in ours. Like Wallace is a huge game player. He would consider he doesn't
mm,
really do much in terms. He doesn't really go out. He doesn't have a huge friendship group, but he does game online. And sometimes I don't know if any of you are watching out there that has a partner that does this to excess. But now that you talk about that, I can see how that would have come through from. There's always been like a game of the moment. So when
yeah,
before we were together, it was like Call of Duty, and then it was Football Manager, and always in the background, Football Manager was on.
yeah.
All it would never not be on, and he would get like antsy if we would go out, and he's missed like a transfer window, and I'm like, it's a fucking
Yeah.
game. But when you explain it like that, if he's not
Yeah.
getting a dopamine hit anywhere else, and that's where he's getting
Yeah.
it, then it's no surprise then to me that no wonder he's worried about it because he's not getting that anywhere
Yeah.
else. How
Yeah.
I know you work specifically with children, but do you
Yeah.
find that spills over or has spilled over into adulthood? Is please don't tell me it's just me.
No, it is not just you. In fact,
Thank God.
it's really not just you. There's a Facebook group actually that I joined a while back, and it's actually really sad. It's Gaming Wives, it's called. Wives of Gamers or something like that. And honestly, it's a huge, huge problem. And they'll
Yeah.
come on and just say, actually, and they'll take clips of their hubbies. Sorry, men on here, but it's many husbands, and they'll take pictures of them and sort of say, I've got a 2-week-old baby and look at him,
Yeah.
or,
Back
I'm
to
doing absolutely everything. Yeah, absolutely everything. And he'll stay on that game for 8 hours, or he's now told his job that he can't go in because he's got a backache, but he's been gaming for like, 24 hours on the trot.
no
So
wonder he's got
it's a
backache.
real issue. It's a real issue. And then you'll have young people, or your children, that model that because they see it and they're
Yeah.
like, well, this is normal
Yeah.
because mum's doing it or dad's doing it, so I can do it too. So you're
Gosh.
absolutely right. But I guess it is like if we like AA, really, it's like alcohol addiction, isn't it, that you have to get that support around you, but you have to first engage with thinking, actually, it's something that I need help with.
Yeah, it's admission is the
you
first step
know
towards recovery in any situation, and as a parent watching a child, you have more opportunity to intervene than you do when it's a like a spousal
yes.
relationship or in a
Yeah.
more intimate
Yeah.
relationship. You can't. Well, you
It's
can.
so hard. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
it's so
God,
hard.
I'm gonna have to join that group, the gaming widow. Um, But it's an internalization process, I guess, for men particularly. That their emotional processing doesn't happen in the
Yeah.
same way, does it? As it
No, it
does for
doesn't.
women,
It
and we
doesn't. And I don't know if
externalize
you.
a lot.
Sorry.
No, no, no. I was going to say we
Absolutely.
externalize a lot. Tell no, I so didn't mean to interrupt. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, no, no. That's fine. I could talk for England, so I'm like,
I love
I've got
it.
so much to
I
say.
don't. I don't
But
want
I
just an
don't know if you
hour
know
with
the.
you. I want to talk to you all day.
We've got the Maslow hierarchy of needs. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've heard of that. It's like a triangle,
yeah,
and at the beginning, at the bottom, you've got that everybody needs to, that kind of sense of, well, we need to eat, we need to physiologically to survive,
yeah.
and then it goes up in each area until we get to, this kind of sense of self-actualization at the
Actualization.
top, this kind of real meditative state, if you like, and
Yeah,
so we've got all these rungs going up. Now, like your friend was saying, who I know somebody who makes a game, they have psychologists that they employ that spend all day ensuring that every single rung of that triangle is met in a game.
yeah,
So when you have a partner, you have a child who is gaming, they're going to feel secure because they're at home. They're going to feel safe because they're at home. They're going to feel that sense of achievement because they win a game, and so on and so on as you go up this triangle.
yeah.
So who doesn't
Absolutely.
want it,
Yeah,
that
because
sense of being social and being connected as well to this community,
yeah, again. I find it was only when we really started, because obviously it has been a question within my relationship, within our relationship, that
Hmm.
what is he getting from it? And he's getting that sense of community. He's getting that also an external sense of masculinity. And again, this is probably why you'll see it
Yep,
in boys, won't it? That you get this if you're in a war game or you're in a hunter gatherer game. It is that
yep,
embodiment of actually what their psychological needs are in terms of
yep,
decision
yep,
making. They might within a relationship not have decisions or not be able to make decisions because they might be married to a strong independent female, like if they're
yes,
in a
yep,
position
yep,
where
yep. Yes,
he's
yes, Danny.
getting to make decisions. Actually, it's like a reclamation of masculinity in that moment, and his
Yeah,
psychological needs are being met.
yeah.
Oh God, I think you've just fixed all my problems. So we laugh about Maslow's hierarchy of needs in the house, and actually the first one is that safety. It's Wi-Fi.
Exactly. And as I know today, I'm on the mobile and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to cope all day? Virgin's let me down, Virgin Broadband. I've got
Yeah.
no Wi-Fi. How am I going to cope?
That's it. It's the first need. Like no one's bothered about whether they're
Yeah,
like externally safe or whether they've got anything to eat. Have they got connection first? All right, okay,
exactly.
we're all
Exactly.
right.
Yep,
I'll fix me
yep,
some toast and
yep.
get me some water now. So how does the work that you do around this look? Like, how do you help people with this? So I know you've like given us some tips around, sometimes, restricting the time that your kids spend, because it does develop into like adulthood where, you know,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
can take up quite a lot of time. It can affect relationships. It can affect their employment. It can affect how they're working. So which in effect affects them financially. So it's all this knock-on effect that actually the roots are being laid now.
yeah, yeah.
How do we engage with you as parents then to learn more about that?
Can I shamefully plug now?
You must
Shamefully.
shamefully plug. There is no shame in plugging anything. The whole point of this is that I get to share incredible people and how to hang out with them. So, like, I need you to not shamefully, but very loudly and proudly plug the shit out of your stuff. Oh, hang on. Wait a second. Before you do, I don't mean to interrupt, but she's just woken up.
See?
I can't get in
Oh,
bed with her.
Rafi's in the other room. I'm gonna sneak and get my 1 second. I've just realised that this battery's about to go.
It's all right. Cool.
Technology. 1 second.
It's
One
fine. It's
second.
all right. I'll pop the screen backstage whilst Michelle goes and grabs her alternative device. What an interesting conversation that we are having this morning. The conversation is not over yet. It is so interesting to see just how many of us are indeed affected by this, by having our kids gaming, because it's almost like an additional parent. Are you there, darling? She's still plugging in. Are you there? She's
Right.
there.
Plugging in,
She's there.
dropping the phone all over the place.
It's all
I'm
right.
back.
You know that we arrive in messiness and realness, so it's all good. I was just
Oh,
saying,
bless you.
just whilst you were there, what an important conversation it is, because so many of us as parents do rely on screen time in order to get some stuff done. And there's this mixture of guilt and necessity that we are bound by,
Absolutely.
especially during lockdown. So
Absolutely.
with pride and with glory, please share with us what it is that you do and how we can talk to you about this.
Okay, so I have a group online and it's called Ask Dr. Michelle about screen time and gaming.
Yeah.
But it's basically ask me about anything in
Yeah.
terms of child development and
Amazing.
support that you need.
Okay. So is
And
that
around this time of COVID-19, I've been supporting parents as well, you know. So what I often is tips in there and tips in the group. But what I also offer is one-to-one support.
mhm.
So you can sort of, we can engage through a consultation. I am developing a course that I will be offering later in the year.
Yeah.
I'm now working on the final bits of the survival kit for the summer. So I'm offering parents a survival kit, which will be like an hour session each week with me in a group and support throughout the summer period, because it's going to be an unusual time for us because of
Yeah.
C-19.
hmm
So we've had our young people in home for much longer than ever, really.
Much longer than
What
anybody
How do
would
we
like
do?
for
How do we
anybody.
manage? Exactly, and how are we going to manage and cope with this summer, which is going to be very different for many people who
Yeah.
won't be going away like they would usually, and won't be engaging with people around them as they would have done usually.
Yeah.
So how do we survive?
Yeah.
So that's what I will be offering. So in summary, I do one-to-one consultations, I do offer group work, and there is a support package, a survival kit, like I like to call it, for parents in the making for the summer.
I am first in line for that package. Honestly, like I make no, like there is no secret of the fact that us as a family to do all the things that we're doing. I mean, you see as my friend, you see even some of the bits that go on kind of behind the scenes, that there is lots happening in the Wallace household. And
Hmm.
to have somebody
Yeah.
like you in my circle that I can reach out to and get support from, to help the kids, is just absolutely
With
phenomenal. And
pleasure, with pleasure.
the more people that know about you and your work, the better. So what else, because you do so many incredible things. So if we go back to me definition, mefication. I don't know.
I have to say, exactly.
Meification.
And I
That
have
sounds
to
like something
say,
to.
yeah, that
I'm
sounds a bit
sorry.
naughty, doesn't it?
A little bit of meification. My goodness. Oh,
I've
don't. It's
battled
early.
with it because I just love the name. I love the name, but
Yeah.
people do find it a bit of a tongue twister, and they're like,
Why not?
"Mifa, Mifa, Mifa," you know. But I do love it, because
Yeah.
it for me it encompasses all that it's about,
Yes, it
which is just
absolutely does.
embracing. I don't know why this isn't working. I might die. My charger's not working.
Oh
I
no,
might
don't die. Like that would be a first.
I know it's not charging. I don't
Oh,
know why it's not
right. Let's
charging.
go till we cut off. I'm a professional. I'll be able to
All right.
I'll smooth it over. It'll be fine.
All right, well, lovely. So sorry about
Don't be sorry.
that.
It's
Blame
fine.
Virgin Media.
Yeah. How dare they? Right.
I just don't
So
know.
so tell me before your battery dies, I want to know a little bit more about
Mm.
this. So tell me more. How
Me
do we get
finishing
involved with
coaching.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. So that started for me really a long time ago when I actually changed. So obviously I'm a big girl and I kind of lost quite a lot of weight.
Yeah.
In fact, I lost a person. I lost Kylie Minogue,
You
really,
lost Kylie
in terms of
Minogue.
weight.
My God.
And
Amazing. I
I
love
was
Kylie
like, oh,
Minogue.
wow. But, there were lots of positives to it.
Mm,
But it was that whole psychology of, this body dysmorphia of actually, who am I now? And I had this, like many people do when they lose weight. I will be all the answers to my life will occur once I've lost this weight.
yeah.
And it didn't. There were lots of positives, um, but it didn't. And I had to kind of really rediscover actually who is my core, who am I? And that's how
Mm,
Me Finishing started.
yeah.
And I started to find all these different modalities to use within my coaching. So I love EFT, the energy, emotional freedom technique, a
Yeah.
form of energy psychology. I use that a lot in my work, in my
Hmm.
practice. Mindfulness, like you've said. I've been trained in hypnotherapy, use that as well.
Hmm.
So I support people with really coming to terms with who they are as a being.
And
So, and I'm actually just really honest about where I am. I'm still on this journey of, weight loss, weight gain, this kind of
yeah,
my own journey. And I'm very honest with it with my clients.
yeah,
Um, but I just love this work because it's about discovering who you are
yeah.
and living in your messiness, if you like,
And
and embracing it.
and getting away from that striving for perfection, because imperfection comes a lot of pain. There's so much
Yeah,
pain that you are when you are
absolutely.
bound by perfection or striving for perfection. Actually, when
Yeah,
you sit,
yeah.
for want of a better phrase, in your messiness and your imperfection,
Hmm.
actually you then become much easier to deal with. Yourself becomes much easier to deal with because you're not bound
Exactly.
by anything. And when you take that
And
all
you're just
away from
accepting
yourself,
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. People
Mhm.
would ask me
Mhm.
years ago, Dani, how are you so confident? And it was almost like I had a confidence shell on. And it was through a journey, like similar to what you're saying, through
Mhm.
self-discovery, personal development, that confidence is no longer a shell. It is a deep
Yeah.
acceptance of the fact
Yeah.
that you're all right. This definition, this acceptance of yourself, actually with that becomes a much more
Yeah.
still, a much more peaceful confidence that is easier to live with
Absolutely.
than the
Yeah.
exhausting shell that you have to put on as an extrovert, particularly if you
Yeah.
don't like how you look.
Exactly. Yeah. And constantly be kind of questioning yourself and judging yourself around this.
Yeah,
Whereas that's taken away when you just accept.
yeah.
And you
Like,
find then you have people around you that begin to accept you as you are as well. You
that's
know?
it. I had a photo shoot a couple of weeks ago, and past me from maybe 10 years ago, who was quite vulnerable anyway, as you know
Mhm.
my story. But there
Mhm.
was like this bit of my belly, and I could see it through my t-shirt. And past me would have really, like, I wouldn't have shared that picture. I would have been
Yeah.
upset about that
Yeah.
picture. Yet share that photo, and so many people go, "My God, what an amazing picture! You guys look amazing!" And I'm like, I wouldn't, without that kind of work, would not have been able to hear it,
Yeah.
because all I would have been able
Yeah.
to see is this bit of my face and this
This
bit
bit.
of my belly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by
And that's
getting
it.
out of
And
that, it's
people
been
see who
amazing.
you see. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, so I love that work. I really do.
And just bloody hell, Michelle, I know we could just talk all day on all manner of different subjects. And whilst I have you, I wanted to say thank you quite
Hmm.
publicly for the support that you gave me a couple of weeks ago when I had a little bit of a tough time, and just by being
Oh, I don't think I
somebody,
did much.
you didn't need to do much. You didn't need to do much, just because nobody knows when things like what happened to me a couple of weeks ago. Nobody really knows what to do. Like, what do we do for that person? Like, she's having a bit of a tough time. It looks a bit strange. And if anybody like isn't too sure about what happened, it was a strange point in my online life where I was called out for a lineup that I created in the middle of a kerfuffle of a week. It was a crazy old week. And just by having somebody in the background going, do you know what? You're all right. You're okay, and just by reaching out, you is a huge service to me. So thank you for being a mate as well as being a wonderful presence online. I really appreciate you. So Michelle, what are you
I mean,
excited
it's a
about? Oh,
challenging time
sorry.
for. Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I was
No,
going to
it's
say
okay. You can like go for it.
it's a challenging time for all of us, really,
Yeah.
in terms of Black Lives Matter, us through our lived experience as being Black people,
Correct.
and through those, our white counterparts who are embracing and engaging and learning through it, and it is
Mm,
messy.
messy as
It
shit.
is, so it's, and I think, yeah, and it's just acknowledging that,
Yeah.
and it is an uncomfortable experience, but
Yeah.
it's one that I think, for those people that are willing to embrace it and understand, actually, it's not going to be a one hit wonder. I am doing my research, I am understanding as I go along,
Yes.
and that's great. There are many people and groups that I've had to step out of, really,
Yeah.
where they're just not understanding, not
Not
supportive,
getting
and
it.
not willing to investigate themselves. So that's been a challenge in itself.
And again,
I've
that
got
comes back to
3% left.
oh,
So
right. Well,
sorry.
it's no, don't be sorry. It's fine. But again, it's sitting in that imperfectness, sitting in that messiness,
Yeah,
and just saying, I'm just
yeah,
going to sit in here for a bit and just get a bit messy with it, and just know that we're all just going to get messy together with it,
yeah.
and allow that for each other whilst we get to grips with it. And the,
Exactly. I'm
and
both resolving that as well. I think you both needed to be admired for that.
yeah, and as well knowing and
Still
acknowledging
not
that
working.
the conversation happened 3 weeks ago. It's not stopped now. Like we've got to still talk. We've got to still talk about it. It's not all of a
Yeah.
sudden gone away because it's now not trending on Twitter or something like that. So
Yes.
like
Yeah.
keeping those conversations and those friendships and those allegiances and alliances, keep going forward with it. And I know that, I'm heavily in your corner for anything you need, and I know you're in my corner for anything I need as well. So it's awesome to have you in my field and in my life. um
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
what was I going to say then? I was going to wrap up. I was going to ask you what you're
Don't know,
excited
Dani.
about going forward.
It's a survival kit, really, for the summer. I'm really excited
Yes.
about working with young people and their parents during that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm taking a break for the summer, which I don't usually do.
What's
So
one of
excited
them?
about that. Exactly. So just, it's getting shorter and shorter. So it's looking like maybe 2 weeks now, but
Yeah.
some time off. So I'm really
Amazing.
looking forward to that as well, and self-care for all of us is
Fantastic.
important. So
Fill that cup back up. So Dr.
absolutely.
Dr. Michelle McDowell, it has been an honour to
Hmm.
have you on my show this morning. Thank you so much for getting up
Thank
early
you.
with
I
me.
know.
um, Thank you so much. Just remind us again where we can hang out with you and find out more about what you do.
It's called Arts Dr. Michelle,
Yeah,
and a Facebook group about gaming and screen time. But I think if you just put Arts Dr. Michelle in, you'll find it.
we will find you.
Yeah.
We'll also make sure that we put a link in the comments so that you can find it a little bit easier. If one of you guys want to do it for me, then fantastic. Right, I shall leave you to your day because your phone is about to die. But
Yeah,
it
it
has
is 2%. We did
been,
it.
we did it. Yes, we are achieving things at the start of this Tuesday. Right, my darling. Hugest love to you. Thank you for showing up, wising up, and rising up with us this morning. That is Dr. Michelle McDowell, everybody, who has been just a wonderful guest talking about so many wonderful, important things this morning. Please do go find out about more of her work. If you Ask Dr. Michelle into the search box on Facebook, you will find her group, especially if you want to know more or have more support for your kids from an emotional point of view and a mental health point of view. Also, if you're interested to find out more about how to support them and yourselves with regards to gaming. My goodness me, you guys, I don't hold back on the quality of our guests. I know. So please do make sure that you join us Monday to Friday, every day for the show at Wise Up Rise Up Show. Do you want to find out who's coming up tomorrow? We have the amazing. Everyone is like, when I bring anyone to the show, or when I talk about anybody coming to the show, it's always like the amazing, the incredible, and it's all these superlatives. And I'm not even lying. They are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. We have the fabulous Inga Hunter joining us tomorrow, talking all things Instagram and social media. For those of you that are new to the show, this is the show at Wise Up Rise Up Show. We talk to guests from all over the world on all manner of different topics, from the woo-woo to the scientific and everything in between, whether it's business or personal development. There's something for everybody. If social media is your thing and learning about social media is your thing, you want to be joining me tomorrow. We've got some golden nuggets of information. Just as a reminder, we have one space left, just one space left on the Rockstar Level Up Mastermind. If you do want to know any more about that, please do slide into my DMs or scroll back through some of the videos, the dual lives that I've been doing with Nikki James over the past week. It will give you bags of information about it. If you do want to know more about it and snap up that space before we shut the doors on Friday, please do let me know and let's have a little chat about it. That was the show this morning. I'm Dani Wallace. I am the Queen Bee. Guess what? So are you too. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I love you guys.